Hello guys. Okay, so many things has happened since a couple of days ago. Yeah, I think today Prince Andrew got arrested, and the tension between Iran and USA also has raised significantly in a way that probably in a couple of days or in a couple of weeks we will have a war in the Middle East. So I'm going to talk, watch videos, what's going on all around the world. But before that, I will check if the stream works well.
The Delta Force operators who captured Venezuelan President Maduro.
Okay, so let's see what's going on.
Are now repositioning to the Middle East. The tables have turned. Wow. The Delta Force operators who captured Venezuelan President Maduro are now repositioning to the Middle East.
Okay, you know about something about what happened in Venezuela? Everything was like hidden. When they come and say that, oh, the same, the same operators, the same units is now positioned, that something maybe happened for the supreme leader in the same way as Maduro. I think it's more, to give, to make them scared for the negotiation. But who knows? Maybe one day we sleep, and in the morning when we wake up, we see maybe they targeted with, they destroyed, I think the uh, maybe the what is the name, the building, the government building, they just destroyed it, raise it to the ground. Or the same operation maybe got happened in Iran. I don't think the same as Maduro. If they want, I think mostly they will just target it with missiles, with airplanes, because it's more difficult if they want to send units, Delta Force in the capital. It's much more difficult, the capital of Iran, than capital of Venezuela.
You know what? I think this isn't true. And do you know why? Because I'm reading it. And if it is true, there's going to be no way to know until Trump comes on at 2 in the morning and he says, we got his bitch ass.
Yeah,
The Delta Force.
yeah, that's true. It's more for negotiation. Okay, so America's new attack strategy for Iran.
What happens if the US prepares to strike Iran, but their traditional Middle Eastern allies say no? If key nations like Qatar and Saudi
Okay. First of all, okay, sorry guys, I got cold, so my voice is a bit has been changed a little bit. But okay, so about this point, Qatar and Saudi Arabia and other countries in the Middle East that they don't let US uses its bases in these countries. I don't. I would say about they have some limits these countries, because at the same time they like that something happened in Iran, like above Saudi Arabia. Qatar is different. Qatar always try to be in the middle and more toward Iran. They have Qatar and Saudi Arabia have more attention, and also, but the Qatar position is more close to Turkish governments. They prefer that nothing happened. USA don't attack, so I think they will put some limits. But about Saudi Arabia and Emirates, I think they like that USA take a military intervention. So for that they will help somehow, and maybe like in the diplomatic way, and in news they come and say, oh, USA cannot use the military base, but behind the scene they will let USA do whatever they want.
Arabia deny permission for military action from their soil due to political constraints, the U.S. has to activate its second strategy. This means bypassing the immediate region for staging the attack and instead launching from the perimeter using European bases. However, distance is the ultimate enemy in aerial warfare, which completely rewrites the tactical playbook. But just how many bases does the U.S. actually have in the Middle East to begin with? The U.S. footprint is massive. There are roughly 30 to 40 military installations scattered across the Middle East, hosting around 30,000 to 40,000 troops.
Wow.
This includes massive hubs like Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the naval support activity in Bahrain, and Al Dhafra in the UAE. Losing access to this sprawling, localized network for a strike on Iran is a logistical nightmare, which is exactly why the European backup plan is necessary. If they are denied these local bases, what is this latest strategy they pull out of their sleeves? The core of the new strategy is a massive logistics shift, heavily relying on the deployment of an armada of flying gas stations. The U.S. will employ a coordinated deployment of dozens of KC-135 Strato tanker air-to-air refueling aircraft. These are moving from the continental United States and the UK directly into bases in Greece such as Suda Bay and Bulgaria. Why are these KC-135 tankers considered the lifeblood of this operation? Because without them, the operation simply cannot happen. Striking Iran from European bases like those in Cyprus, Greece, or Bulgaria means aircraft must cross immense distances. Fighter jets like F-35s or F-16s simply do not have the internal fuel capacity for a multi-thousand-mile round trip. The KC...
Yeah, that's true. So basically, USA need to make a gas station. Wow. They need to have a gas station and the air and the sky for endless air attacks. So I think basically 24/7 they are going to attack Iran, and for that they have like many KC-135 tankers.
KC-135 tankers act as a floating bridge. They rendezvous with the strike packages mid-air to top off their tanks, allowing them to penetrate Iranian airspace, drop their payloads, and make it back to Europe safely. If the tankers don't fly, the strike jets are grounded. So how does the U.S. Navy factor into this massive geographic shift in strategy? To supplement the loss of Middle Eastern land bases, the Navy brings its floating cities into play. For instance, the Gerald R. Ford carrier strike group, currently positioned off Gibraltar, would push rapidly eastward. By reaching the eastern Mediterranean shortly, it creates a crushing strategic pincer.
Wow.
These new carrier can launch at least 4 jets.
You know, the Gerald Ford was in the Caribbean Sea. I think it was close to Venezuela. It was basically deployed from the Mediterranean to Caribbean Sea for what happened to Maduro, Nicolas Maduro. but now they are returning it too close to Israel, and that shows Trump, USA, has a real plan for attack.
per minute. It uses electromagnetic aircraft launch system.
Yeah.
A sequence of electromagnets along the track is energized with precise timing controlled by digital software. These magnets create a moving magnetic field that smoothly pulls and pushes the shuttle, accelerating the aircraft according to a programmed acceleration curve. Once the aircraft reaches takeoff speed, about 155 miles per hour or around 240 kilometers per hour, then the shuttle releases it, and the aircraft lifts off. The shuttle then slows down electromagnetically and returns to its starting position, ready for the next launch. You might wonder why the Navy chose this costly upgrade over the tried-and-true steam catapults. The answer is simple. Electromagnetic takeoff provides smoother acceleration, significantly reducing stress and wear on aircraft frames compared to the harsh forces of steam catapults. Well, apart from aircraft carrier, the US also needs a monstrous amount of missile terminal air defense system. The US had actually removed 60% of its missile defense systems from Qatar and the Middle East. So how many missiles are being transported from different parts of the world to fix this? The answer is fill the sky with these Globemasters. The US military needs a massive airlift of roughly 4 to 6 Patriot batteries and components for a THAAD battery. This involves over 300 heavy transport flights. But here is the detail most people miss. The US needs a flood of aging Patriot missiles to be pulled from stockpiles in Germany and Japan.
This game, you're not ready.
Why move old missiles? Because they are the perfect cheap solution for Iran's thousands of Shahed drones. Commanders are hoarding the brand new scarce PAC-3 kinetic interceptors for the hypersonic and ballistic missile threats. The military is clearing out the Cold War inventory to save the modern tech for the big one. But the Navy destroyers will be the first one to strike. The attack begins not with manned aircraft, but with robotic precision from the sea. The goal is simple: blind the enemy's eyes, their radars, and silence their voice, their command and control. In the Persian Gulf and the Northern Arabian Sea, Arleigh Burke-class destroyers, ships like the USS Thomas Hudner, receive the launch order. The vertical launch system cells hiss open, and moments later, dozens of Tomahawk land attack missiles erupt from the decks. These missiles fly at subsonic speeds, humming the terrain in what we call nap of the Earth flight to stay below the radar horizon. They are programmed to loiter and strike simultaneously. Their warheads slam into S-300 and S-400 radar sites and command bunkers. They degrade the integrated air defense system, effectively carving out safe corridors for the pilots who are minutes behind them. While the Tomahawks are still impacting, the silver bullets of the US Air Force are already deep inside hostile airspace. These are the B-2 Spirit stealth bombers. But wait, the Iranian also have an attack strategy. First, and perhaps most famous, is the Swarm. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard.
I mean, guys, this just doesn't going to work, this plan. They want to attack with these small boats. That will not work. This is for sure.
Cork Navy operates hundreds of small, fast attack craft armed with heavy machine guns, rockets, and anti-ship missiles. The tactic here is simple, but deadly. Instead of trying to fight a US destroyer one-on-one, which they would lose, they deploy dozens of small boats simultaneously from every direction. The goal is
And the missiles will go toward them simultaneously from different directions. So it's just nonsense. It's not anything difficult.
to overwhelm the US ship's defensive systems, like the Phalanx, by presenting more targets than the ship can track and destroy at once. Moving to Tactic 2, mining the Strait. Next, we have the Silent Killer, mining the Strait of Hormuz. This is the world's most critical oil choke point. Iran maintains an inventory of thousands of naval mines, including smart mines that can listen for the specific acoustic signatures of enemy ships.
They have a stock of thousands. If USA do not target them at first, so if USA just destroyed them at the beginning, thousands of them, so it will be maybe 0 or a couple of hundred.
In a conflict, Iran could use submarines, small boats, or even disguised civilian vessels to
About civilian vessels, yes, but about submarines, I don't think Iran has anything useful against US military.
Drop mines right into the shipping lanes. The goal here isn't just military, it's economic. This would deny the US Navy safe passage and immediately spike global oil prices, inflicting massive economic pain on the US and its allies. Here comes Tactic 3, the kill zone. Third is the geographic advantage, coastal missile batteries. The Iranian coastline is mountainous and rugged, perfect cover for mobile missile launchers. The regime also employs shoot-and-scoot tactics using truck-mounted cruise and ballistic missiles. They fire a missile and immediately move to a new hiding spot before the US can strike back. This effectively turns the Gulf into a kill zone, where US ships are under constant threat of fire from land with nowhere to hide. Tactic 4. We have the ambush threat, midget submarines. The Persian Gulf is actually quite shallow, which makes it difficult for massive US nuclear submarines to operate. However, it is perfect for Iran's fleet of diesel-electric mini-subs, like the Ghadar class. These small subs can sit silently on the seafloor, waiting for a target to pass overhead before firing torpedoes. It's a surprise ambush tactic designed to damage high-value assets, like carriers or destroyers, while remaining almost impossible to detect by sonar. These small but stealthy diesel-electric submarines designed for operations in the shallow waters of the Persian Gulf pose a significant threat to US aircraft carriers. The Ghadar-class submarines, which are difficult to detect due to their small size and low acoustic signature, could position themselves in strategic locations near key naval choke points, such as the Strait of Hormuz. By waiting in ambush near expected carrier movements, Ghadar-class submarines could fire a coordinated torpedo strike, targeting the hull and propulsion systems of US carriers. A successful torpedo strike on an aircraft carrier could disable its flight deck operations, significantly reducing the US Navy's ability to project air power in the region. Additionally, these submarines could lay underwater mines in critical sea lanes, forcing US warships into predetermined ambush zones where Iranian missile and drone attacks could follow up. Tactic 5. We can't ignore the aerial threat. This is drone warfare. Iran has invested heavily in becoming a drone superpower in the Middle East. In a conflict, they would use UAVs not just for surveillance, but as loitering munitions, essentially suicide drones. The tactic is to launch them in massive waves to crash into the sensitive radar dishes and flight decks of US ships. The goal is to blind the fleet's sensors and halt flight operations, leaving the ships vulnerable to missile attacks.
Yeah, they said, I think, in one operation war in June, during the war between Israel and Iran, they sent thousands of these drones. How many they reached to the targets? I think it was zero, or I think just one of them could survive, but it falls after that. So basically,
Let's look at Tactic 6.
it's not a danger. I don't think it's anything complicated for USA to handle them. There are just a bunch of low technology drones.
The US fleet relies on ports in Bahrain and air cover from bases in Qatar to sustain the fight. Iran possesses the largest ballistic missile arsenal in the Middle East. Their strategy includes massive missile barrages targeting these static headquarters and logistical hubs. The goal isn't just to destroy buildings, but to deny the US Navy the fuel, ammo, and command support it needs to stay in the fight. If the ships have nowhere to dock, they can't stay in the Gulf. But if the Iranian disable the Navy carrier, can the US still fight back? The answer is yes. Focusing only on the slow-moving ships is a mistake. The United States holds an ace up its sleeve that doesn't need to wait for a clear shipping lane. Even without a carrier strike group, the US can deliver precision strikes for weeks to come. This is the domain of Air Force Global Strike Command. They can deploy the Big Three strategic bombers anywhere in the world in just 24 hours. First, you have the B-2 Spirit stealth bomber. This is the door kicker. It is the only aircraft in history capable of taking off from Missouri, flying non-stop to Iran, penetrating the most advanced air defense networks undetected and dropping massive bunker busters on deep underground facilities. Second, the B-1B Lancer, known as the Bone. This supersonic heavy hitter carries the largest payload of any U.S. bomber. It can dash in at high speed and low altitude to deliver massive barrages of cruise missiles or satellite-guided bombs to clear the path. And finally, the B-52 Stratofortress. It may look old, but do not underestimate it. It acts as a flying missile truck, capable of launching long-range cruise missiles from hundreds of miles away, well outside the reach of Iranian air defenses. Let's take a look at how this works. The first line attack involves the B-2 stealth bomber moving in to destroy high-value air defense systems like the famous S-400 Triumph and other surface-to-air missiles, effectively disabling them by using its stealth.
But I have a still problem because I don't think Iran has S-400. But we will check. Fact check now. Okay. So reports indicates that Iran has received and deployed at least one battery of Russian S-400 air defense system as of mid 2025. Key status update. Operational status. Iran reportedly conducted the first operational field test of the S-400 on July 26, 2025, near the strategic city of Isfahan. So they have, but what? There is nothing complicated. I think they have just one battery. So I would say I'm curious to know what does it mean, one battery of the Russian S-400. Is the basic combat unit. Just so basically one combat unit. Collection of several specialized vehicles that works together to detect and shut down together. Okay. A typical S-100 battery includes launchers, 4 to 8 vehicles. They are the transporter reactor launchers. So each launcher typically holds 4 missiles in individual tubes. So if Iran has, I think, S-400, if the reports are true, so I think one of the first targets for sure will be this one, to take it down.
Technology. Next, the B-1 Lancer flies at a very low altitude towards enemy targets to take out older anti-aircraft guns and missiles. This clears the way for conventional aircraft like the B-52 Stratofortress, which can then sweep in to destroy any critical infrastructure without facing anti-aircraft threats. This is the reason they need both the B-2 stealth bomber and conventional bombers, as there are only 19 units of the B-2 Spirit in service to date. We make original videos from scratch, so please do subscribe.
Okay, that was good. So military build up. What is
So President Trump saying that he may decide on possible military action within 10 days. As I just said, he just gave it a 10 to 15-day window moments ago. But obviously, he's leaving himself a lot of flexibility because he has a tremendous force in both the Mediterranean and off of the Middle East as well. He's got the largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, that is steaming into the area as we speak. So part of what the president calls this big armada, clearly closing in the vice on all sides around Iran. He says that good talks are happening and that the U.S. demand here for Iran is quite clear.
They can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple. So now we may have to take it.
Yeah, but they want nuclear weapon. So negotiation will not work.
A step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
So the head of the UN's nuclear watchdog, very central in the possibility for Iran to bypass this U.S. military option. The latest talks, this is when they were together in Munich last week. He's telling Iran, you don't have much time here. My interview with Rafael Grossi, which we just did moments ago, will show you that in just a minute. But first to Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst, reporting live from Tel Aviv. Hi, Trey.
Martha, good afternoon. The surge of U.S. military air power to the Middle East is the largest since the 2003 invasion of Iraq. More U.S. military equipment is on the way, including the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, now arriving at the Mediterranean Sea. And while reports indicate President Trump has discussed a timeline for striking Iran, no final decision has been made as the region walks a tightrope between diplomacy and war. Today, the Iranian Navy continued joint drills with the Russian Navy in the Sea of Oman. Earlier, they also issued a notice to airmen in western Iran to conduct rocket launches as part of ongoing drills. With the region on the brink of direct conflict, European countries, including Poland, have started to warn their citizens in Iran to exit the country as soon as possible.
Wow.
And Israel.
Wow, okay. So
Israel's prime minister tonight is issuing a new warning to the Iranian regime.
Okay. So even Poland asks his citizen to leave Iran as soon as possible and do not plan any trip there. So the situation is getting problematic very quickly.
I clarified to my friend President Trump the principles that, in Israel's view, must guide any negotiations with Iran. We are prepared for every scenario, and one thing is certain. If the Ayatollahs make a mistake and attack us, they will receive a response that they cannot even imagine.
I cannot imagine. They will be like Iran will be already busy with USA, the biggest military in the world. And to respond to that attack, they attacked to Israel, which is the biggest military, which has the biggest military in the Middle East. Wow. This is like they're just inviting them. How they are going to handle that, I don't know.
Here in Israel, the Home Front Command has not issued any special guidelines to civilians, but the military remains on high alert. Martha?
Thank you very much, Trey.
Hey, Sean Hannity.
Okay, so we are going to X. So I'm curious about Prince Andrew. What happened to him? Okay, latest. So he got arrested. How Reuters captured the photo of for why I cannot see. Okay. What Trump said. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life. Okay, but what's extraterrestrial life? What's now about Epstein? Is it a recent post? On the day former Prince Andrew was arrested. Oh, the same day. Oh my god. Really? Trump just saying Trump wrote that? It's recent. What was unidentified aerial phenomena and unidentified flying objects and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. God bless America. Wait, what really he wants? I don't understand. Is it new? Is it a new post from him? Because just it doesn't make sense. Now people wants about Epstein files, and now suddenly people he want to start UFOs about that. Who show interest? Everyone are talking about, literally everyone are talking about Epstein files, and today Prince Andrew was arrested. So I don't know if it is real or if it is new or not. Oh my god. Look at the photo. Look at the photo. Oh my god. She's just like terrified. Yes, exactly. After shock arrest. So you're going to see.
I ordered myself some new glasses.
Wait. Trump calls Prince Andrew arrest a shame. Oh, Trump reacted to that.
Former Prince Andrew arrested by the police there, related to something with Jeffrey Epstein. Do you think people in this country at some point, associates of Jeffrey Epstein, will wind up in handcuffs too?
Well, you know, I'm the expert in a way because I've been totally exonerated. That's very nice. So I can actually speak about it very nicely. I think it's a shame. I think it's very sad. I think it's so bad for the royal family. It's a very, very sad. To me, it's a very sad thing. When I see that, it's a very sad thing. To see it and to see what's going on with his brother, who's obviously coming to our country very soon, and he's a fantastic man, the king. So I think it's a very sad thing. It's really interesting because nobody used to speak about Epstein when he was alive, but now they speak. But I'm the one that can talk about it because I've been totally exonerated. I did nothing. In fact, the opposite. He was against me. He was fighting me in the election, which I just found out through the last 3 million pages of documents.
Former Prince Andrew arrested by the...
Oh my god. One predator causes the arrest of another predator a shame. The world we live in is a real shame. Okay. I don't know yet what was the rule of Trump in the Epstein files. I know that more than 1,000 times his name was mentioned, but like many names were mentioned. Like I don't know if he did something or not. I have no knowledge. But Prince Andrew, yes, for sure. So that was good that he was arrested.
How many of you
Okay, Epstein files.
Britain's former Prince Andrew has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, he was taken into custody in Norfolk just a short while ago. He is accused of allegedly sharing confidential information with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, so basically he wasn't arrested for misbehaving like with girls and relationship with them. He was arrested because of misconduct, because it seems that he shared like some documents, some important documents related to Britain with Epstein. So he's cooked. This is for sure. I don't know how he's going to survive this one.
Mountbatten Windsor has previously denied any wrongdoing over his ties to Epstein. King Charles had stripped his brother of his titles back in October and has since evicted him from Windsor. Let's get back down to CNN's Salma Abdulaziz, who joins us live in London. Salma, what's the latest that you're hearing?
I want to start by asking maybe questions of what we don't know and what we do know so far. So we do know that he's been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office, but there's a lot of details that are still missing here, of course, Rahel. We don't know the specifics of the allegations of this investigation by the police. We're talking about a period of time between 2001 to 2011 when he was representing the UK as a trade envoy. But what are the specific allegations, the specific accusations of misconduct? We don't yet know that. What information actually prompted Thames Valley Police to make this arrest? That's the key question here, because we understand that they have been assessing this claim for some time now, I would say a period of days. That latest trove of emails where we see these allegations come to light has been out for a few weeks now. So what was the trigger? What was the switch? What was it that the police held on to that said, okay, now is the time when we need to take this very extraordinary action, of course, in this country? We also don't know where Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is currently being held. We don't know where he is being held. We simply know that he's been arrested, but we don't know any details beyond that or what the status of that is in terms of his arrest. And we still don't know if
So basically we don't know anything.
he's been interviewed under caution. That's what it's described as in this country. So essentially, has he been asked questions? Has he sat down with a police officer and been asked questions as of yet? And where has he been asked these questions? What location has he been taken to? What do we actually know right now? Well, what we do know is Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, former Prince Andrew, who only earlier this month was forced out of the royal residence, pushed into his brother's residence, the Sandringham estate, which is currently being searched by police, has now faced a watershed moment, really, not just for himself, but for the royal family and really for this country at large, being arrested. Now, again, Being arrested does not mean being guilty. We do not know the specifics here of why the police have taken this extraordinary action of arrest. That is the detail we need. But you can imagine that the royal family is reeling. King Charles has been trying to get ahead of this time and time again. Last year, he stripped his brother of all his royal titles. I said he's pushed him out of the royal residence. He even took this really extraordinary step of preempting the possibility of this happening right now by saying he was willing to support the police in any inquiry that they had. So there's going to be a sense in this country, first of all, that this has caught up with Prince Andrew. He has been long under question, long under suspicion for his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, a relationship that he appears to have lied about in the past, saying that he ended his relationship with Mr. Epstein once he was a convicted sex offender, so around 2008. Now, in these latest email troves, that does not appear to be the case, and it is now clear that he did continue that relationship after Epstein was convicted, and it is that information that led King Charles to strip him of his royal titles, to take these extraordinary steps to try to get ahead of what's happening here. But again, it has caught up with them. There is going to be also a bit of empathy, I imagine, in this country for his family, the York family as they are known here. He has 2 young daughters. They're in their 30s. They have their own families. Their faces have been splashed all over the media for the last few days. So many questions here swirling around what is, first of all, a family that represents this country, the monarchy as an institution, and how Mr. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor represented it as a trade envoy. And I did write down some details of the emails that could be in question here. Around 2010, he appears to have forwarded government report visits, details of those visits in Vietnam, Singapore, China. There are emails that indicate that Mountbatten Windsor forwarded investment opportunities for gold and uranium in Afghanistan. He had a duty of confidentiality between 2001 and 2011.
For sure, and what he did, he just shared this information with Epstein. Wow.
As trade envoy, did he abuse the public office? Did he violate government information? Did he violate the Pact for Confidentiality? That is the question the police are asking right now. The details around that, we have yet to know.
So this is the kind of story where...
That's so shameful. He basically did like treason. He just shared his information to Epstein, and Epstein's probably was connected to our other different intelligence services. What happened? For what reason he did it? I'm really curious to know what was his relationship with Epstein, that he shared the information with him. For what?
It generates a flurry of text links, people trying to put together what they know now. Can you remind us this?
And what? And this is because of that. He said, Trump said that was shameful, the arrest, his arrest. Why?
State of play here in the U.S. right now, it's the House Oversight Committee, right? Like who is investigating what at this point?
Well, that's a question that we don't actually know the full answer to. The House Oversight Committee is pursuing some depositions with the former Victoria's Secret owner, Wexner, did a deposition yesterday, but also there's this whole the question
and he's
of
a major donor,
yes,
which is why people are focused on him.
And the question of whether Bill and Hillary Clinton, what their testimony will look like, that's been going back and forth, but is expected in the coming weeks. But I think that the thing that is notable here is that so far the fallout from the Epstein files, which by the way have still not been fully released despite the law that said that they needed to be, the fallout has been not in America, not in American politics in ways that people have really been feeling the kinds of results that have been happening in Europe, or people even stepping away from business dealings in the United States. There are a lot of political figures who keep coming up in these documents. Documents are not necessarily things that implicate guilty behavior, but we have from the Justice Department from the beginning this statement that there was nothing to follow up on in terms of criminal investigation. We just don't that statement coming at the front of the release when we see that other things have been.
I
want
to add one more thing to that, because Prince Andrew in the past has denied the allegations of sexual abuse from people like the late Virginia Giuffre. I just want to read something just because the paper happens to be in front of me. New York Times, they're talking about the Commerce Secretary Lutnick, and they mention that it says he's not the only prominent Trump administration official to appear. The records show that RFK Jr., obviously of DHS, once went hunting for dinosaur fossils with Mr. Epstein. An email file shows that Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's at CMMS, invited Mr. Epstein to a 2016 Valentine's Day party. None of these things are criminal, but they're also part of this dialogue that says the elites, there's an elite out there, they're all buddies, they all hang out with each other, and they accrue the benefits of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, in 2016, he was a convicted pedophile. Why are you hanging out with this man in general? And I just am hard-pressed to find that people didn't know that of his behavior. And then they also lied about it, and they lied to the American people. Lutnick actually lied to people and said, I had nothing to do with it. And then he's like, oh, wait, I did have lunch on the island. It's like, who do you believe anymore at this point? And I think, to your point, the American people, I think, are so interested in this because of the power dynamic, because they see that they'll never be able to get ahead. They're not in these elite circles. They're not in this weird class of people that do things and aren't held accountable and get to play by different rules.
But I also think another thing that sticks out to me when you read through the different revelations that have been coming out of these files is that I think a lot of Americans think like, oh, there's Republicans and there's Democrats, but actually among the elite, they're not really as different as you think. And these are files that include everyone from Naomi Campbell to Steve Bannon going and allegedly hanging out on this island. And so it's like, wait a minute, this elite is like,
I don't understand how we could have so a strong relationship with elites, with different people in Hollywood, in politics, in tech, in economy. Wow.
It's different than like right versus left.
That's where it plugs into the bigger political thing going on here. There's this phrase, you guys have both used the word class, talk about it. Ro Khanna, the congressman from California who wrote the bill that was the Epstein, he has this phrase, the Epstein class, which has now gotten some pickup.
Oh yeah, or the Epstein administration, I've heard him say.
Yeah, but the Epstein class, I think, does get into the, people have a feeling that there are some who are getting ahead, who are getting wealthy, while a lot of Americans are struggling and are not able to break through. They see this going on, and what's in these files, at the very least, does seem to confirm that for a lot of people, that there's this rich network of people. They go hunt for dinosaur fossils together. They hang out on an island. And then you add in all of the illicit behavior. All this, it's stuff that is remote from anything that most people are dealing with, and makes this the economic, the stratification going on in American society feel much more real.
Yeah, it puts a literal face on it.
If you want to have a job.
So basically, I think, it's really a scandal. So many people were in contact with Epstein in these 3.5 million pages, and no one was arrested. That's not good at all for for DOJ, Department of Justice. How people can trust this department when they are seeing that no one is arrested? It's just Ghislaine Maxwell, and for Ghislaine Maxwell, the wife of Epstein, she was transferred from mid security prison to average security prison to a low, the minimum one, the minimum security level. It's just ridiculous. I think what really Trump needs to do is to take strong actions against these corrupted elites. But now that I cannot even imagine how now people will how feels about the justice system when everyone are just escaping, like their names basically were redacted, and many names that actually were released was the names of victims. I don't know what was the percentage, but that's just not acceptable. Okay, guys. So hopefully tomorrow and after tomorrow we will receive more information. What is that? So, guys, I'm going to stop the stream, and hopefully tomorrow or after tomorrow I will stream again. So have a good time.